this marks my 14th 2026 horror movie so far. And I gotta say, this was the hardest to track down. So something you should know, there are two theaters near me. Cinemark, 10 minutes the long way, 5 minutes the short way. Regal, 20 minutes the short way, 30 minutes the long way. And this was showing at 6:40 p.m. at the Regal, which was the theater I don't like to go to because they had least comfortable seats and they're further away. But of course, that was the one showing it. And they did not pop up until 3 days before the actual showing date. And I would have missed this completely if I did not check on the 4th to go see it at the 5th. So after going through all that effort, finally getting my ticket, going after seeing The Bride, going to my appointment, driving home, then immediately driving to see this movie. And what a contrast this was to go see The Bride after this, which was crazy. But I'm actually kind of glad I saw this in theaters. Dolly is a low-budget horror film that tells the story of a couple who goes on a hike. The man plans to propose to his girlfriend, but the girlfriend gets kidnapped. And you're dropped really in this situation, just like the main girl that you really do follow throughout, because they don't really explain like the myth or anything. You get text on screen, but you don't know the history, you don't really know really anything what's going on. So you're just kind of dropped in this main character, like the main character, and you really don't know what's going on, just have to escape. So now that being said, that's what the movie's like. Let's talk about the pros. For a low budget movie, I like the way the story was told in chapters. I was not expecting that really whatsoever at all, but I thought that was a fun way to put in, tie in the family part of that as well. I have to say also, the gore, and there's like one gruesome kill, honestly, pretty solid movie, and they really do go places. There was one point involving milk that I'm like, they're not going to go there, but they actually do go there. So I was actually surprised by the gore and that one kill that we get very early on. I was actually very surprised by that element. And again, let's go into my mixed. A big mix for me really here is going to really be like the main characters. And I will say the acting, not amazing in this movie, but it gets a little bit better as it progresses on. So it's more a mix. It doesn't totally take it away, but the acting, yeah, it's not the best, but at some points it's not as bad. It is believable that they're going through this pain though, so very mixed on the acting, but it can be rough, I will say. I will admit that. Going into the negative, now, at one point someone gets killed, and I get what they're trying to go for, but the way they keep kind of reviving that character, I'm like, let them pass away. Let them pass away. You don't need to do this. It feels like the one thing they were going for works the first time, but they kept doing it over and over again. Not only to take believability of like, how can you even get that far, but I'm like, you don't really need to do that. You could have had someone else come across it like you did earlier. That would have probably been better. You had another chance to get a good kill in there. But they just kind of over milk it too much. Another negative is going to be, this is mainly in the forest when there's yelling in the beginning. So the girl is yelling here, and it literally sounds like a sound, like a soundstage in there. And there are points in the house where it does also sound like a soundstage, I will also say. Also, wasn't really entirely a big fan of the actual look of Dolly. Didn't love it, didn't entirely hate it, but I feel more on the negative side of the look of Dolly. Again, the mask, I actually will say I think that was a fun idea with the glass, but the rest of it I'm like, okay. Going into the spoilers. Oh, another negative for me, again, so they do a couple of things. They do stereotypes of the tripping over constantly, and just things like that are like in this movie as well. And at one point at the end, something reveals that this is like not the first time, and like she's yelling and he doesn't look away at all. The cop, I'm like, really? Again, stereotype things that's in there. Going on to the spoilers, and I can't really fully explain what happened. So it seemed like the mother passed away, And when she does help the father that you learn eventually, like, get unchained, and he kind of helps her, you know, stands her captive, and Dolly kind of calms down. It seems like something happened and Dolly took over the house and he got mad about it. You really don't know the family dynamic. You really don't know really what happened. Like, the main character kind of dropped in the movie, which is really kind of can take away some of it, but didn't entirely take away too much for me when watching this movie. Meeting it at the level where it's at. And you kind of learn the lesser of that Dolly's like almost the lesser of the two evils, really between the two. And I really didn't expect that was maybe someone held captive. I mean, who was the other person across? And I'm assuming that might be another family member or something. I don't know. But again, so you get the story of like the children, so you don't really know anything much going in, but just survive. Again, why does the fiance need to survive? The fiance really doesn't need to survive this movie, honestly. You could have literally had that one gag when he comes up with the mouth and had him die like that, and have the sheriff and maybe come through, find it, and have another kill like that or something along the lines of that. But no, you just don't have that. And that's the one thing that really dragged it out. I'm like, come on. After a while, when he kept being alive, I'm like, come on. You can't drag that out for too long, but they just drag that part out. So overall, for a low budget movie, this was better than I expected it to be, because this is a trailer I would see in theaters more often than not, which definitely surprised me. But it was okay. Not the best, but a little better than I expected it to be. Comment down below if you saw Dolly and if it was playing in your theaters, or if you had difficulty seeing it like I did. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys soon with a brand new video.